Hi there, my name is Kronenberg and welcome to my channel. This is another set of film reviews where I pick 3 films, usually lower than about 5 in IMDb, so 4.9 or something like that, or maybe even 5, but quite low. I try to go for. Sometimes they could be all black and white, so even a film that isn't really a low rating, like some of the black and whites, but are films that you may or may not really have heard of. Like from 1960 or something that it's quite cool, but people don't tend to watch. What I've done with these later videos, as opposed to my first 3, I think, is I've actually put some images in there. So the first ones I didn't, but these ones now are. So they have the basic DVD cover, and then when the cast and crew come up, there's images so you can actually visualize who they actually are. Sometimes I'm trying to take the images from the actual film, and if not, there'll be generic images, and also the trailer, if I can find one, is in there. That will just be mute, as in no volume, so that'll be in the background. You can watch that while I'm talking, so at least then again you can see what I'm talking about. And it's a trailer. It's not. I'm not nicking any film or anything. It's stuff that's out there on the internet to watch for free on IMDb or wherever, even on YouTube if I can't find it. The trailer, I mean, not the film. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Hopefully this setup is good, and yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy it. Okay, let's talk about the films. So the film that I've just literally watched tonight was called Clownado, Clownado. It's a sci-fi comedy horror, apparently. Amazon's got it as a 16 plus. I would have said an 18 in my mind for some of it, but there you go. It's an hour and 39 minutes. Came out in 2019. Amazon have given it a rating of 3.5 out of 5 and IMDb 4.0 out of 10. So the Amazon synopsis is: a troupe of murderous circus clowns are trapped in a tornado by a witch's spell and travel the Midwest, destroying everything and everyone in their path while seeking revenge on the woman who imprisoned them. Now the director is Todd Sheets, who was also the publisher, I keep saying publisher, producer, and I think he also did the editing on it. He's known for Bone Hill Road. The production is again Todd Sheets, like I said, but it's also there's basically loads of them. There's like 10 or 15 of them. They're all executive producers. It's the famous everyone can have a bit of a mess around, so it'll look like a mess at the end. And he was also in Bone Hill Road. The music was done by 3 people. We have Justin Burnin, who did the music for, you guessed it, Bone Hill Road, and so did Matt Cannon. He did the music for that. And we have Toshiyuki Hirioka. I don't know how you say it, but he did the music for Mad Cowgirl. It's only known as Clownado. It was filmed in Missouri in USA. I think that's how you say it. I can't actually say that word. Is it Missouri? Now the actors or actresses cast, however, in Amazon it lists Linnea Quigley as Spider, and she was in Return of the Living Dead, which I've got. It's a fantastic film. If ever you see a zombie film, that's a great film. Great film. But in this film, she was in it for about, I don't know, 5 minutes, if that. I mean, literally, I thought, oh, there she is, and then it was gone. I thought, oh. So, when you see an actress or we'll call it an actor, as they keep saying nowadays, appearing, don't just assume that person's in it all the way through the film. They're not, but this one definitely wasn't. Now, I can't for the life of me figure out who the main clown is. I was trying to rack my brains when I looked at IMDb, because none of them have any faces. They're all just blank pictures, if you know what I mean. So it's a bit like, well, I don't know who it is. So the ones that kind of stood out for me was Kate Phoenix, Caytfeinics is her name. She was called Satchel, one of the clowns, and she was in a film called Hellfire. We have Dylan Fawn Harvey, who was Bambi, and she was in, surprise surprise, Bonehill Road. Rachel Lagan, who was playing as Savannah, was in a film called Final Caller. Antoine Steele, who was Dion Livingston, but in my mind he was Elvis, and he was in Sleepless Nights. So you start off and got the music kicking in, and the intro music's very circusy, that sort of music. And there's all pictures and images and videos of clowns, both the ones that are in the film and also real clowns. So that's kind of nice. Adds a bit of realism to it all. So the acting, this is literally as I'm watching it, as it were. The acting kind of reminded me like Phantasmagoria. Now, if you've ever seen the game or played the game, you'll know what I mean. I've got it. I've released a playlist on that one. But it's very kind of, I don't know, it doesn't seem like a highly polished acting, let me put it that way. Now, the very beginning, for some bizarre reason, well, not bizarre reason, but we're in a building in a room, and there's this green light shining through the window. Why green light? I have no idea. I mean, why green? I mean, don't know. And then the one-liners kick in. And literally just rolling off the tongue. She's saying, I think it's Savannah who was saying it to the main guy. Oh, you're like a light bulb that's gone out. You're the milk that's turned sour. All at the same time. So it's basically the same sentence. She'll say that, and then the other one goes, "Hey, you're like," and it's just like, oh God Almighty. Yes, maybe once or twice, but I think that was within the first 7 minutes. I had so many one-liners. I felt like they just literally just picked a book up and just read the one-liners and go, right, okay, we're gonna make a film. Right, well, how many one-liners? Let's have as many as possible. Let's have 1,000. Yeah, let's do that. Anyway, we end up in a circus tent. If you view it from above, I didn't actually realise it was a circus tent till after the event of the circus. I was like, oh, it's a circus tent. I thought it was just some sort of image on a wall. And it's supposed to be this huge circus tent. But when you actually look at them, it feels like they're just on a stage. It's tiny. And it's still green inside this tent. Then they go outside and it's like no green. I was like, yay, it's not green anymore. Then we go by a tree and it goes green and purple. This is the light. This is outside. So they're cutting up a body. Alright, it was kind of interesting. So they're slicing away. There's no bones. They're just slicing away. They were chopping up this body and just slicing away. And it just looked a bit kind of, okay, fine. I'll go with it. Now, it says on the thing, they're trapped in a tornado by a witch's spell. So the witch is doing this cantation thing. It's quite interesting. I was thinking, oh, that's Linnea Quigley. No, it wasn't. I was like, oh God, I don't even know what she looked like. From the film that I watched, that was, I think, late 80s, early 90s. I can't remember. It was an old film, so of course I have no idea what she looks like now. But it wasn't her. That was, find her name. Who was she? She was, who knows? Autumn. She was Jeannie Silver. Jeanne Silver. Jeanne Silver. She was playing Autumn Moonspell. In case you're curious, she's been in quite a few films. Water Power, apparently. Probably a lot of, probably not a lot of films you probably want to see at your local Amazon thing. And then she starts squishing up this heart. She finds this heart. She's doing the cantation. She gets her heart and puts it into this pot and starts squashing it, and it mushes it all up. I don't know where she got this heart from. Anyway, it's daylight after 30 minutes into the film. So we have with any B movie or low-rated films, you tend to have some sort of nudity in there. I know it's a bit crass, but it's always going to happen. And as usual, there's never going to be a guy. It's always a woman and whatever. But that doesn't really matter. But she's doing the famous nudity bit when she's just prancing around. And then we somehow, well, not somehow, but we go outside the building, which I'm not going to go into too much depth. But we get outside, and the stripper's there. And then this guy is there, and this Black Elvis impersonator. Now, it mentions how this Black impersonator, Elvis impersonator appears, so you know where he's come from. It hasn't just appeared out of nowhere, you know. But I didn't want to go into that because apparently that's just, well, it's not apparently. I watched it. It's all one-liners again. It's all, hey man, you shouldn't be out here walking here, you know. And I was like, oh, for God's sakes, just give him bloody lift. And there was no green. It was like, yay! Anyway, we got to the darkness again, and after 3 minutes of this daylight, and again, it went purple. So it's just like, God save me. And the special effects are so awful. It's so over the top. And it also, when they're like putting their hands into a body to, you know, pull out the liver or whatever, it just looks like they're putting their hand into jelly. Still, the one-liners are flowing. It's literally, I think, at this point, it was about 45 minutes in, and it was just one-liners upon one-liners upon one-liners. This woman says, I think it's Savannah, says, is the bus ever on time in this place? And the waitress says, honey, I haven't been on a bus since I had pigtails and poodle skirts. Now, I think it's poodle, I don't know, I couldn't make out what she was saying. I thought, for God's sakes, can you just say, no, they're not? Sometimes they are, no, they're shit, you know, that kind of stuff, but no. And again, special effects, Jesus. So they knife somebody, and again, it still looks like it's jelly. I couldn't even figure out what half the stuff is. You watch some of the killings done by the clowns, and they don't use knives all the time. They use their hands or various body parts. And you watch it, and you're like, what the hell am I looking at? You know, you think, well, okay, it was his hand. No, wait, you were knifing his stomach. So wait, so what am I looking at now? Is it his hand? Is his knife? Stomach? I can't tell. And then they just bring something out. You think, is that the spine? Even though it looks very bendy. No, I don't know what it is because I can't tell. Anyway, you're driving home late at night, right? And the female driver is driving. There's no one else in the car, just her. And you see a woman hitchhiking. Even though there's blood all over her face, she's got some sort of dodgy arm going on with some knives. So you pull over like you do. And you offer a lift. Make sure you have a big long, you know, a couple of kisses here and there everywhere, you know, a bit of groping, even though you don't even know this woman. And there you go. And then of course the unknown woman goes mental and kills you. But apparently that's normal. 1 hour gone, still one-liners. Like I said, it was just pissing me right off. There was this weird bit where one of the clown dies and his body starts to emerge from inside the body, like coming out of the body. And it was a large clown coming out. It kind of reminds me of Demons. So if ever you've seen that, it's a film or not. It's the film by Dario Argento. I think he produced it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know that it's Bava and it's Dario Argento. It's an Italian film, fantastic film. So I thought, oh, is it like that? Kind of, I suppose. And it was still showing green light. So they managed to kill a clown, believe it or not. They killed a couple by removing his head. Blood's all over the place, squirting out. They're doing that thing with the jelly, you know, putting their hands in there and moving it around. It's like kneading some bread, you know. Everyone gets their fingers in, or not kneading the bread, making a cake, you know, with it. Or the kids help the mum, so everyone gets their hands in, starts squishing around. It's like that. And then they walk away, and their white shirt's completely white. It's like, okay. And then the ending. It was an interesting ending, not what I was expecting. With the tornado, and obviously the bit at the end. as it were, was kind of good. And then literally, as I tend to check, there's no extras at the end of the, when the credits are rolling. But what it was on this one, there was some outtakes. I think, oh, cool. Except you can't see half the outtakes because they got the music blaring on, so it's a bit bizarre. So you can hear some of it, and then all of a sudden you can see them talking, but you can't hear them. So it'd be nice if they'd either, I don't know, reduce the volume of the music or whatever. But that would have been nice. So as usual, this film is available on Amazon Prime Video. So if you've got that, you can watch it for free. If not, I'm sure you can get it from somewhere else. It's got a rating of 4 out of 10. I wouldn't give it a 4. I mean, the story was good, but you see this wording, not the wording, where it says, destroys everything and everyone while seeking revenge on the woman who imprisoned them. Yes, in a way, but it's a bit misleading. What did I give it? Would I give it a 4? No. It's that bloody special effects and those one-liners and that green and purple lights. Why? I don't know. 2.5. I would say. That's me being, quite positive. Okay, right. Well, I'm going to pick the next one in a few minutes, and we'll see how that one goes. Okay, thank you. Okay, the next film is called Eye of the Beast. It's a horror, adventure, action film. It is a TV movie, which I could kind of tell when I was watching it. It came out in 2007. Amazon have it as a 16 plus, and it's an hour and a half minutes. Amazon rating is 4 out of 5, and IMDb is 4.2 out of 10. I always prefer the IMDb ratings, as I say, because they're a bit more varied, And so the synopsis, which I'll read from Amazon, they're both more or less the same. A young scientist arrives to a small fishing town to fight against a creature living under the water. So the director is Gary Yates, and he's also done 7 Times Lucky. The producers, there's a couple of them as usual, but there's some notable ones. You see them when their names go up on the actual intro. Robert Halmy Sr. and Jr. They were also the producers of Grizzly Rage, which I've reviewed, and also Merlin. Another producer is Phyllis Lang, who again did Grizzly Rage and also Mad Ship. And the music is done by Jonathan Goldsmith, who did the music for Black Widow. Now the cast, we have James Van Der Beek, Beek, who plays as Dan Leland, and he was in Dawson Creek. Alexandra Castillo, who played Katrina Thomas, and she was in Handmaid's Tale. Arne McPherson, who was Gunnar Thorson, who was in The Ice Road. And Ryan Rajendra Black, who was Will Nipanek, who was in The Reg. The Reg? Am I reading that right? No, The Res. Sorry about that. I can't read my own writing. So, the budget was $2 million. So that's 1.9 million euros or 1.6 million pounds sterling, because our sterling is about as much good as it's nothing really, basically. Now the synopsis there says a young scientist arrives to fight against the creature living underwater. It doesn't actually arrive to fight against the creature. He just happens to be there when the creature's there, if you know what I mean. Oops. So the film Okay, so it starts off and it's got some sort of snazzy music kicking in. So straight from the off music, it's quite nice. And if you ever watched the trailer, which I'm obviously putting in the video here, it actually starts at the beginning of the film. So when you see the boat where they're laying, in the middle of the ocean, as it were, that is the beginning of the film. So I've not given anything away. Now, the arm that comes up looks like a giant octopus arm, with suckers on the edges. And then 5 minutes in, we've got a death. So, and you don't see anything, you just know there's a death. And then credits start appearing. The place where it's filmed is quite a nice shipping village. It looks quite nice. So we have the Heartless Copper. At least I thought she was. Looking at this originally, I was like, oh yeah, she's a copper. She was actually in the fisheries department. But basically, this guy who is Ryan Regenda Black, who plays the Will Niepanek, comes along and says that his sister's missing. And so she says, oh, she'll be fine. She's out doing some crazy stuff. You did crazy stuff when you were a kid. Don't worry about it. She'll be okay. The usual stuff. So, pretty heartless. And I was like, oh, what a heartless copper. Turned out to be a fisheries. So, again, why would you speak to her? But there you go. What do I know? So then there was the local crazy. There's always one in there in the film. He knows there's lake monsters, so he sells t-shirts for it. And then straight from the off, you can see a romance building. When the research guy turns up, and it kind of reminds me of Viper's film when I watched that, and I was like, yeah, I can see this one coming along. And yeah, I was fine with this one. So if it's a lake, it's the biggest goddamn lake I've ever seen in the world. I mean, maybe they are like this in America. I don't know, but it looks huge. I couldn't even see the other side. It looked like the sea, but maybe it was a lake. I don't know. So basically, there were these sightseers, this couple and these two kids walking along the beach of this lake. And this guy's bending down. He's going, oh, what beautiful rocks. Oh, these are really nice stones or something like that. And she's like, oh, come on, whatever his name is. And he's like, oh, these are really nice. And then all of a sudden, there's no noise. So the wife turns around and he's gone. Now, there's no splashes. There's no, none of that. He just disappears. It's just like, well, considering what I've seen of this creature, I was pretty surprised that he managed to get on the lake. But there you go. It was decent acting, And then the doctor, the research guy, actually could see what was causing the killing. He saw some boat debris and he was like, I know what this is. Based on what he saw. Now, the research guys from Nora, I don't want Nora. He said, "Oh, we like to call it Nora." Nora is, well, apparently it's a place. It was like National Geographic something or other. National. I don't know. Anyway, not to it. So he was like from National Geographic thingamajiggy, and he says, "Oh no, we don't like to have that long name. We prefer Nora." So he knows how to look up images. He's found some images, and he wants to research them. So does he use a government website, or maybe one of his own Nora websites to determine what it is that could have caused this from National Geographic, that, or maybe other sciencey things. No, he uses Google Images. So there's usually funny bits in all these films. I mentioned it in Prey. I mentioned it in Vipers. Well, I say funny bit for Vipers. I felt like I just wanted to kill myself on that film. And some other ones as well. So on this one, as I say funny bits, it just made me chuckle. So the woman with the fisheries has found a dead body, right? And she's on the phone. It's one-way conversation, so you don't hear the other person. She says, "Not my area of expertise, but if I'm guessing, it's a male torso. But how the heck do I know for sure?" A long pause. Okay, now that's just gross. In the background, the research guy's just grinning. I was like, yeah, I think I know what the answer on that one was. Now, there was some interesting things. There was the top 10 reasons why fishing is better than sex. It was quite funny. I don't think they got to number 10 or number 1, but they did do quite a few. So, if you've ever seen Jaws, the original one, and you remember they were trying to stop people going in the water, but everyone was just like, yeah, whatever, and just went in. It's kind of like that. Don't go out in the water, whatever you do, and everyone's just like, sorry, mate, we've got fishing to sort out. So, the squid, I say, or whatever it is, attacks some dude a bit later on, and it chopped off the tentacle end. So the skeptics started to turn, then they were like, oh my god, it's a real thing, it's not just make-believe. And it looked quite cool. I mean, the special effects looked quite decent. It was, well, I don't know, I suppose that's what it would look like if you chop off a octopus. I say octopus, I didn't know it was a squid at that point, but an octopus tentacle. It's a bit rubbery, but, some suckers. And it kind of had this squishy thing inside. Like squishy stuff. Now, a lot of this film is supposed to be water on the boats. They're going fishing. It's a fishing film. They even tells you on the thing. They goes to a small fishing town. So it's on the water in boats, but you never actually see the water. All you see is fog. Don't matter if it's day or night. It's fog. It isn't foggy when they're in the harbour and they're setting off. No, you see water there, but when they're out, all you can see is inside the boat, which kind of feels like you're not in a boat, if you know what I mean. And then fog. And then they shine lights into the water to try and figure out what it is that was moving around. But we never actually see what they're seeing, because all we can see is them shining the lights into the fog, of which we never then move the camera around with the angle, which is a bit of a cop-out, I would call it. So there was a group of fishermen were fighting off this squid. I found out it was a squid later on. Like I say, I'm just giving it away, but I think you can kind of tell that from the trailer. Or maybe you can't, I don't know. And one was trying to pull the other one back, and his arm came out. Not his whole arm, but the hand and the wrist kind of like dislocated from the body. That was quite actually good special effects. Well, that was quite decent. A bit of blood there, but nothing too major. And everyone kept yelling, "It's coming, it's coming, it's coming," but we never see anything except some tentacles. So, the typical story in a film. So you got them on the boat. Again, I'm not saying exactly what's happening, but you can probably gather. They're on the boat, and one guy started to scream, yelling for help. There's two other guys as well at the bottom of the boat, dicking about with the engine for some reason. I don't know what they're doing, because they just turned it off. So there's a guy on the top, and then he gets caught by the tentacle, screaming, yelling. She's shooting the tentacle, missing uselessly, and then he's screaming, and whatever, it disappears into the ocean. Go around to the other side of the boat. The other guy is there, screaming, yelling, "Help! Help! 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 Help!" No, that's it. Anyway, she is there. The tentacle appears. She screams. The two guys come straight upstairs. We heard you. We heard you. It's like, did you not hear the other two? Probably not, because No, so I actually saw the squid up close, and it actually did look like a squid from what I think a squid looks like. So it was a decent film. I actually enjoyed it. I think the special effects were like Jaws, and the music was kind of cool as well. It was eerie. There was some bit heavy, not heavy, but some sort of beaty kind of music. I'll say the acting was pretty cool. I'll probably give it a rating of 5. Now, it actually said it was filmed in Winnipeg. I don't even know where Winnipeg is, but that's what it said. Was it Winnipeg or Winnipeg? It said Winnipeg. Winnipeg. It's Canada, apparently. So it was filmed in Manitoba in Canada. That's where it is. It's the capital. So that's the way it was filmed. So I say I'll probably give it a rating of 5. It got what, 4.2. So yeah, I'm going to give it about a 5. I would say, because it was decent. It kept me going. It wasn't times where I was just like looking into this space, going, God Almighty, what am I watching now? Like some of the previous films I've reviewed or whatever. But it kind of, there were many times I kept forgetting to actually scribble down the things I've been watching. I was like, oh shit, I'm supposed to be remembering this little bit. So I'm just basically mesmerised by some of it. Not all of it, but some of it. Okay, so I will stop that one there, and I will review the next one. Okay, the next film is Death Ship. It's a suspense horror, apparently adventure film. Came out in 1980. Amazon has a rating of 18 plus, and it's an hour and 27 minutes. Amazon rating is a 4 out of 5, and IMDb is a 4.8. A mysterious ghostly freighter rams and sinks a modern-day cruise ship, whose survivors climb aboard the freighter and discover that it is a World War II Nazi torture vessel. The director is Alvin Rakov, who also directed Shades of Green. The producer is, well, there's 3 of them, but I'll just do the main 2. There's Derek Gibson, who produced The Terminator, and Harold Greenberg, who directed Porky's. It's a typical 80s, late 80s show. Music was done by Ivor Slaney, Slaney, and he did the music for Shall We Dance. Now the cast, they're on the trailer, so I know obviously. We have George Kennedy, who played Captain Ashland, and he was in Naked Gun. Richard Crenna, Crenna, he played Trevor Marshall, and he was in Rambo. Quite a few of them, actually, to be honest. Sally Ann Hoves, who's Margaret Marshall, and she was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And Victoria Burgoyne, Burgoyne, who played Laurie, and she was in Howard's Way. The budget was 4,500. Sorry, no, I can't read. 4,500,000 Canadian dollars, which is 3.3 million euros, 3.5 million dollars, and 2.8 million pounds. My God, our sterling is just plummeting. And the location is Dauphin Island and Mobile in Alabama, Quebec in Canada, and the Gulf of Mexico. So it is an 80s film, so they don't expect anything kind of gruesome, as it were. So you start off at sea. You can actually see the ocean, the sky. It's complete contrast to the previous film, which was the hell was it now? Eye of the Beast. I can never remember the name of that film. I watched it and I couldn't remember when I was thinking of what I'm going to be watching, and I can never remember what the film was. The music's very atmospheric. It's kind of like typical of the 70s and 80s music at the time. Within the first few minutes of literally watching this, we heard German voices coming in, dramatic music, trombones and that kind of stuff, but not like electrical music. It was like symphonic kind of composed music. And then we see the cruise ship, and this is literally within the first 5 minutes. There's a fancy dress party. Everybody's kind of dressed up for it, wearing masks and stuff. It's quite a happening scene, you know. It just sets the entire film straight from the off. You know that everyone's there partying, and there's people on the bridge and whatnot. We see then the German boat. This is literally again in the very first bit, and you know what it's about because I've just told you in the synopsis. A ghostly freighter rams, you know. So we see the German boat heading towards the scene, and again it sets it. We know straight away what's going to happen. There's none of this waiting for half an hour or anything before anything kicks in. So the captain, who was George Kennedy, he's a happy old soul. He really wants to meet all the people. He doesn't like socialising. He doesn't like meeting people. He doesn't like bowing. He doesn't like greeting and saying yes, it's a lovely journey. He doesn't like any of that. So he's the most perfect captain you can ever get. You know, you see it in cruise ships all the time, and everyone seems to think they're the most happiest, jolly people, but not him. Now on the cruise ship itself, it looked like they actually used a proper ship at this point. You know, inside the having the fancy dress party, it could be a studio, but the bridge looked like a proper bridge, you know, with proper things. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know, the wheel and all the other gizmos and stuff. Now the devastation as it kicks in, obviously when it gets rammed, is like movies at the time. So you're thinking Tower Inferno, that kind of stuff. You know, you're gonna get. And then Poseidon Adventure came out around the same time, so stuff falling down. A piano, of course, always crashes. I don't know where they find a piano all the time, but there you go, the piano drops down. So that's, you know, understandable. Not many survive though. You know, out of them all, but it's all the main people plus a couple that you don't know, which you can do the maths. So there's on the trailer you can see two little kids screaming. The little lad's called Ben. I can't remember what the girl was named. She was Robin, and the little boy must be incompetent or something. Incontinent. Basically, he's always wanting to go to the toilet. Always. On the ship, on the German ship, somewhere else. He always wants to go to the wee. It's like, my God, sort yourself out, lad. Now, I can't remember how long it was before I watched the first death, but it was actually pretty impressive. So I'm not going to get into too much depth, but it's a bit dunking into the water. And then he's let loose and he drowns. You know, it's pretty decent. You know, I was enjoying it up to this point. I'm not saying I didn't like it any further, but up to this point it was like, this is good. And it's unlike the Ghost Ship. So if you think, oh, it's going to be like Ghost Ship, the film that came out in the 90s, I think it was. Can't remember exactly when it came out. Might be 2000s. Ghost Ship, where you think, well, they're all going on the ship and it doesn't move. No, this moves. This physically goes, and it seems to be like the ghosts are kind of like moving it, even though you can't see the ghosts. So that's kind of cool. And it's also for the Ghost Ship, as it were, or the Death Ship. Is actually filmed on an actual ship. You know, you can see the pipes everywhere, the deck, the engine room. I'm assuming it's the real thing because it's not like they built it. It looks very, very realistic in my mind, anyway. Now I'm going to try and describe this bit if I can. I probably can't, but I'll have a go. So they found this old movie projector and it started going, and on it is a guy playing piano. And if you can imagine the piano, you know, they've got the keys and stuff, and then in front they've got the you know, the bit where you put your music, and then above that you've got the top of the piano, and on there is this kind of like a booklet, I would call it. And then this little guy just comes out, this booklet, whilst this guy's playing the piano. So it's about, what, size of about 5-6 inches. Comes out and starts playing the trombone and singing. And I thought that was it, but then a bit later on, it kicks in again, as in we carry on watching it, and there's a couple of women running around, again playing musical instruments, but they're walking on a musical score. You know, the lines and the I can't remember what you call it. It's called claves or something. You know, the symbols and stuff. It was actually quite enjoyable. I mean, from 1980, this would have been not CGI. This would have been they'd have had to manually create this kind of stuff. It's kind of cool. Actually, I enjoyed that. It was good fun. So I have no idea why some things. So sometimes they put stuff into a film and you've no idea why. And they had this bit, the slow motion running bit. You don't get it in modern films, but in the old 80s and 70s films, you always have this bit where they're running slowly, slow motion. Baywatch was a famous one, but your slow motion sort of thing, and you think, oh, something's going to happen, something's going to happen. Nothing happens. I don't know why they were slow motion running. They could have just run it. Maybe that's the bit where everyone goes and makes their cup of tea, you know, out of the adverts. There was a guy getting crushed. That was pretty cool. And I'm not going to give the entire ending away. I'm not going to do that at all. But in my mind, the film was pretty cool. I thought it was very decent. It kept me entertained all the way through it. The acting was good. The music was good. That was a good ending. So I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. You know, for me. 4? No. I mean, maybe because people are expecting modern day stuff. But when you watch a film from the 80s, you ain't gonna get what you get in the 2020s. You're just not. It's an interesting concept as well. Good idea. Kind of like the same style as Ghost Ship, I would say, in certain similarities, but of course this came out before. But that's about all I'll say. But like I say, you saw the ship, the Ghost Ship, the Death Ship. You saw the entire thing. You saw the ship when he was in the water and whatnot. It was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. So anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed watching these. I think that's all 3, and I have got others. Now this one, if you're watching it now, this is the first one where I've done proper different kind of editing, where I put in the trailers and faces and stuff. My previous 3 I've released haven't got this. So if you watch those and you think, well, where the hell, it's just all I've got is a backdrop. That's because I got feedback, and I like to get feedback, and it helps you grow. So I did, and I'm listening. I've got plenty more, literally plenty more to go. So it's not like it's a one-off thing. I enjoy watching these kind of films, and like I say, this I would have put this a higher rating. If it was a higher rating, I wouldn't even watched it. I'm trying to just watch the ones that are about a 5, or as I've said before, if they're a low rating, not a low rating, but if they're a high rating but a film you've never heard of. I've got a couple upstairs. Damn if I know what they are. I think it's got, even one's got Gregory Peck in it. I mean, that's an old film. So, you know what I mean. But not many people have probably seen those films. Anyway, thank you for watching, and yeah, okay. Leave a leave a comment in the comments box below. Please subscribe to my channel. I've got other film reviews, and I do obviously mainly games, but you know, this is just a sideline thing. Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for watching, and goodbye.